Peace, all you lovelies out there. Welcome back to Melanation. Please do not judge the baby in the background, okay? He's having a whole time. But let's get into it. So this morning, I was going to have you guys go with me while I did my A4V. So I haven't did an A4V in a while. For those who have been following my channel, the A4V is really what jump started my channel. Because what happened was it worked. It worked so well that I started a channel because I was so excited about the results. When I got those results, I went on YouTube and start like looking for just more information. And I started to see a trend about people saying you got to do this and you got to do this first, and it won't work unless you do this and you do that. And I was like, unless I'm so blessed and highly favored, which I am, I didn't do any of that, and it worked oh so well. I mean, it worked. Y'all, I've been trying to recreate those results since. And so those results worked for just under a year, and then it switched. Now, what has motivated me to try it again is that the other people had noticed that as well, that they did the A4V, it worked for a while, and then it stopped. So I got the bright idea to just try it again. It's been a couple of years since. And so it's like we're on a path and they shut that door. But what if they crack it back open? Or what if it's left open? Or what if, it stops for a while? And this is the thing. There's no one who is like has a business or that's in banking or, from the top telling us this, showing us the way. Most of us are the end user. We're out here, we're regular private people out here, and we're learning it through practice and hearing it from other people. So there's no one that's just saying like, this is how it is, this is how it is, this is how it is. And so for that reason, we are, you know, we're trying it. We're practicing. We're all practicing. we're all practicing secure party creditor, the life. We're practicing what they would be doing, right? Oh, you can't reach your stuff. Get it. Get it. Oh, get it. Here. There's one. Got it. And so because of that, because no one's really teaching us and we're just, trying to figure out, there's really there's not one way, and there's not only one right way. There's a bunch of different ways to skin this cat. And I know that from all of you guys that are studying, if you guys have not figured that out by now, that's a gem. There's more than one way. So don't feel like if you start feeling this anxiety because you're doing a process and you're like, this is, just know that the process that they're telling you about, hey, it could work. It may have worked for them. I do always tell anyone that watches me that if you're following somebody else's process, please just ask more questions. Ask what happens after 3 months. Ask, was there any backlash or retaliation, or did it work for a little while and then stop? Ask for those additional questions, because if they're truthful and if they did it, there is something. Now dealing with court, it may be a little different, but even sometimes with court, you might win in this court in this city or county, and they just gonna come from another city or county and try it again. So just know to ask those follow-up questions. But when I was about to do my A4V this morning, it dawned on me that, because I'm all about balance. And just to reiterate, melanation, I don't I'm not promoting anybody's anything. So I just share my shenanigans and what I do and the thought process that I get and the downloads that I get from the ethers, from the atmosphere, downloaded from the Holy Spirit to show me what way, because that's who's leading me. That's how I'm being led. Right. And so I was just about to do another A4V just to see if it's possible that it could work again and I get those beautiful results like I did. And then I said to myself, well, hold on though, because if I do the A4V, the debt disappears. They don't, when I did my first A4Vs, y'all, it was like a ghost town, because I used to have anxiety when I went to check the mail, because the mail was just bill after bill after bill after bill after bill. And I remember when I did my A4Vs, I stopped getting mail. Like I had like 2 things in the mail, and it would be like some some coupons. It was I stopped getting bills, and that's what made me, because I had so much anxiety about it. When I stopped getting the mail, I was like, oh my God, y'all, this works. And it worked in ways that I wasn't expecting, right? So I'm like, okay, I kind of want that experience again. But I realized where I am now, where I wasn't before. I matured a lot, and I am also trying to build my credit and diversify. And I know that where I was a few years ago, I would have been like, because the credit bureaus are actually third-party creditors. They're third-party entities that I did not give my express written consent to. But although these other companies, can you shut my door? Although these other companies are in contract and in collaboration with those credit bureaus, they just know that when I do business with the company, that because they have backhand collaboration and agreements with these third-party entities to share my data, to give them my data, they're trafficking my data. You guys are behind the scenes, and the 15 USC 1692, all of those laws there will beautifully detail all the violations that these third-party debt collectors are involved in daily. But you guys realize that these third-party creditors still exist. So although a lot of their practices are predatory and a lot of their practices are scrutinized, they did not close these companies down. America did not shut these companies down. Businesses did not shut these companies down. The Supreme Court that ruled and that made the 15 USC laws, the ones that put all this stuff in act, they did not go and shut these predators down. So they're still out here. They're still out here doing their job. They're still out. The credit bureaus. Imagine all of us that have been sending in letters to get these places shut down or to notice them of their violations. There's actually a website that it's an app that I had downloaded that will tell you all of the violations that accompany violation tracker. Y'all, violationtracker.goodjobsfirst.org. That's where discover which corporations are the biggest regulatory violators and lawbreakers throughout the United States. Now, you can go and put in these companies and see, they're getting, $960 billion penalties, right? Civil and criminal cases, over 400 agencies with the total penalties of $960 billion covered in these class actions. And the companies, they're not being shut down. They're still up. They're still operating. So, that made me think, well, it's really just part of a cycle. If they're getting violated and we are sending them letters and we're winning cases and stuff like that, you guys, they have the money. They have the money to pay. They have the money to pay the violations. They have the money to pay the civil suits. This is nickels and pennies to them. We think we're gonna get their business, and y'all, they've been doing this for many years, many years. You know what I'm saying? They got the thing figured out. The system is figured out. We're not new. It might be new to us, and their violations may be new to us, and their violations may be newly triggering to us. But we not gonna stop them, like, and the people before us that tried to stop them, they didn't stop them, right? Okay, so now that I said that, and I'm saying that to get to a point that if you can't beat them, join them. If you can't beat them, know that we're the head and we're above them anyway. And for us to begin to look at this situation from a little slightly different perspective. So when I was looking at these the credit bureau specifically, and how they are, this video is not supposed to be long. When I'm looking at this and I'm seeing how these third party debt collectors, not the third party, I'm sorry, the credit bureaus are third party entities that they're just businesses. They're not anybody's law. Somebody just decided to send my information to them, and they just decided to be a data collection company. All right. And so I said, well, I can do an A4V, but that's not going to help my credit report. And I started to realize that if I utilize the credit report to my advantage, I can actually set my credit report portfolio. It can be diversified in such a way that I have the different type of credit that's needed. You need revolving credit. You need like a credit card. You need good credit history. You need revolving credit. I may be saying that backwards, but you need the different types of credit in order for your credit score to be holistic, right? And on this journey, I think that I've came across a lot of people that are in poverty or close to it. I did not come across any very wealthy, well-off millionaires, billionaires, 6-7 digit earners who were on this journey. I didn't come across any of them on this journey. I really came across people who were getting cut off notice, disconnect notice, living, sometimes we're experiencing homelessness, things like that. And so it got me thinking about the different triggers. Is that what I'm wanting to say? Not necessarily that. A lot of us are traumatized by this money system. A lot of us are getting the short end of the stick. Hey, Isaac, can you come get Israel for me? He wants to play. Mom's not being very fun. I mean, he just chilling, but I know my baby. He like, okay, mama, please, just for a little bit. And so, thanks. He's right there. Just hold him for just a little bit for me. You're so awesome. So, what was I saying? The third party, the credit, and we want it to, and I was basically saying that I feel like a lot of us, have a lot of trauma from this system, because this system creates poverty. I mean, the can you get through? I was gonna say the forefathers, but I'm very mindful of their lineage, and they ain't my daddy, they ain't my fathers. Thanks. And so they knew, I think it was actually even Henry Ford who said that the centralized banking system was like the beginning of the end. and so they knew that prior to. And for the engineers of that system to create a system that keeps people in poverty, you got to recognize this demonic system that we're utilizing, and those who are in a demonic headspace that keep that system moving. And I say that because they have claimed their allegiance to Satan. So I'm saying demonic system because most of the people that are in it worship him. So that's where they get their downloads from. And their motivation and their orders from, their instructions from. It feels good to them to oppress people. It feels good to them to have people suffer. It feels good for them to be in a place of greed and things like that, and moving in a really narcissistic way. Controlling the masses and programming us to stay in, stay under their feet, right? So I say all this because it's giving me a different perspective and somewhat of a paradigm shift when I started hearing this in my spirit. But I have to speak on the fact that this system is very toxic, and because of it, a lot of us are like, you know what, to hell with the system. We don't need this system and this and that. And to a degree, we're right. But I have this feeling that if we utilize the system in a healthy way and we overcome the discrimination, we overcome the redlining, we overcome the bias that is keeping us trapped, that's keeping us in poverty, we will start to love this system, because it is a great system. The American system is great. Not all countries have even a credit system. So although we hate it, the people in countries around us, they are putting their families through a lot of harm to get into this country. So let's look at this a little bit differently. So like I said at the beginning, I wanted to do that A4V, but then I realized when I do the A4V, it's going to remove the debt off the trade line off my credit, and I want to have a lot of different things on my credit, so I got to be strategic about it. So now this becomes strategy. Use the A4V as a strategy. You don't want to use it to just get rid of all your bills, because your bills that you're paying, the stuff that looks good, you want that stuff to be narrated on your story, because we can use our credit to get the things that we're trying to get. So let's go on this story. I was thinking about it last night. Let's go on this story. So let's say that we're in a car right now, and we're doing a process to get out of the debt for this car, because we got the car from this car dealership. The car dealership gave our information to a bank. The bank is now trying to act like we have to pay them for this car that we already did business with the creditor, the business. So they switch everything around. The perspective is switched around so many times in these scenarios. But let's just try to stay on this one. So we're trying to get out of this contract with the bank, because we don't have we don't have any signature. They don't have any wet ink signature that says that we are in agreement with this third party bank. It was the company that is in contract with the bank, not us. Hold him for a little second, okay? That phone is in there, okay? Or you might sit in the living room and do it. So okay, you can bring it here. I'll open it for you. So summer break, y'all. And so that's for this car. Now, let's say
if Isaiah was awake, I was going to tell him both the two games that he downloaded, they was like finished downloaded.
Okay, that's cool. Okay, so Now that'll work for that particular vehicle. But what about when we are ready to get something different? Or like let's say when we're ready to get a house, because that's really what brought me to the light. Um in my situation is that I took this knowledge that I'm learning and I'm like, okay, let's go get a house. And I shared on my live the different ways that I went about getting homes. And I mean, I really gave some good effort. I one of them I forgot to share, where I just went into the real estate office with my with the treaties, the land treaties, and just all this different stuff using a W9, no, I'm sorry, W8 bin, and just so many things. And I got a lot of respect there from the realtor, and she was like, you know what, everything is here. I had my W8, I had a 1099. um what else did I need? Oh, I had my religious adherence document saying that I'm a religious adherent and we are protected. Our religious ways are protected, and God says that this and this and that and that. Like, I had everything laid out, right? And she was like, "This looks good." Actually, I don't think we'll need anything else. And so I was like, "Oh my God, oh my gosh, oh my gosh!" And of course, what happened with that? They just stopped even talking to me. They just stopped even talking to me, and I was like, "Hey, you can't make another offer because I had already made an offer." They just totally just stopped even communicating with me. And so then here I am trying to make another complaint. So what I am seeing from this situation is all of our roads, when we are fighting like this, all of our roads usually are going to end up in court or whatever. And that's not a problem if we know how to win court and everything. But I just started to see, like, this isn't going, I don't know, I just not going the way that I thought. I didn't want all roads to end up in court. I want my documents to be respected, and you guys say, oh, and then you give me the keys. Oh, she signed it. Oh, I wanted the people up in the big office that know to know and process my stuff correctly. But it just seemed to keep not working like that. And anybody who's saying like, no, Empress Yoka, she don't know what she's talking about, I did get this house, I would really, really like to talk to you. I would really love to talk to you, because I'm not trying to like down anybody, but I'm just saying I'm very intelligent. I'm very brilliant. And I've done a lot of stuff with this and talked to a lot of people. And it doesn't go how we think it's gonna go. And it doesn't last how we think it's gonna last. So I just want to hear from someone who's different, and I want to see the proof. Like, show me your house, show me the title, show me the stuff. And a lot of people will say, well, they're not going to show you all that, and that's because it's probably BS. Just gonna say, because I'll show you my stuff. Like, I'll show y'all stuff. If I had stuff, I'll show you stuff. Whatever you want to. And then that's the other thing. A lot of time there's not evidence for a reason. So it's just a real funny movement. So back to the point. So when you get ready to try to get a house, or you try to acquire some land, man, them police, y'all, they don't stop. Their system is very, very set up. It's very strategic how they do what they do for us to be able to move without any money, and for our signature to be all that there is. They That used to be the case, but they have put a template, they have put something on top of our system to make sure that it's not that easy for us. Bondage, they want slavery. You feel what I'm saying? They put a set slavery system over our liberated system. And so they're not going down without a fight. And so if you got time to fight, keep fighting by all means. And I'll send you all blessings and good energy and strength and intelligence and wisdom. Yes, do it. But not all of us do. So for those who don't have the time and energy and resources to continue to fight, the word says to agree with your adversary quickly. So I'm here to agree with you quickly, okay? I'm here to agree with my adversaries quickly, okay? So they say that I owe this debt. And like I said, I was going to do the A4V, but I decided I'm going to actually make steps to pay it off, because what my goal is to get in this home. And I realize they want 12 months of good history. The people, and we ain't talking about that. We're not talking about what we can be doing on both sides. Like you can go this route and you can be working your processes. I'm not saying give up. Work your processes, because I know you couldn't have told me this before and I would have believed you. I would have stayed doing my processes because I believed in them. So I'm not saying stop. Do them. Because you may find a great balance. You may find a very customizable, process you can do. So I'm not saying stop, but what we're not talking about is, in order to get the house in a traditional way, is you need 12 months of good history, and you need your income to debt ratio to be doable. If you owe too much debt on your credit report, they're not going to give you the loan, right? And for us that are like, because I know what I've studied, so I can hear, as I'm saying what I'm saying, I can hear my study like, what? Credit report? What? Get a loan? What? Work with the bank? It goes so against everything that we've been learning on this journey. But what I have been realizing too is that we've also been lied to a little bit on this journey, because you guys, while we are working, I did 5 years of studying and moving in those ways, that when it came time for me to want to get the house, I had nothing. I have nothing that they need. I'm living life without using my social. I'm living life without using my ID. I'm living life, with a private tag. I'm living life without paying debts, although I didn't have debts. Like, I was doing the A4V, so they just disappeared. So it was like I wasn't even here. It was just a really weird space. It was a very thin line between being like a criminal on the run. Like, I could imagine if I was like on the run for like murder or something, that this lifestyle would be perfect for me, because I'm learning to do stuff without using my name, and I'm doing stuff in all these like weird avoidant ways. That's what it starts to look like, is avoidance. And I'm not trying to avoid anything. I'm trying to be in my capacity, in my rightful capacity. But I think what I've learned is that they've turned our rightful capacity into something else. We're the debtor now, and we're this and we're that. But even with what they try to put on us, we're still victorious. So even if they call us the debtor and we're the creditor, we're the head, not the tail. You know what I mean? So we know that our signature makes the deal. We know that they're off of our credit. We know that it's all about us, and like, this system is there for our service. They're not our master and authority. We know that. But it's this certain way that they've kind of turned America, and it's not about fighting it as much as it is about figuring out how to survive it, figuring out how to thrive in it. So these are crashing waves, destruction, chaos. It's crazy out here. It's a madhouse. It's narcissistic. It's a toxic relationship, to be honest with you. But even in a toxic relationship, so I am now a certified psychiatric rehabilitation practitioner, or a life coach, whichever's easiest. And so it's my job to rehabilitate. So I'm saying it is there is a way for you to be in a toxic relationship or in a toxic situation, and there's strategies that you can use that will allow you to get through those situations with those type of people, with your whole self intact and them intact as well. It's a whole strategy, right? So I'm taking that strategy of you know, getting through life with a narcissist, and I'm taking that to this narcissistic system and just figuring out the way to be able to thrive within it. So, you know, there's cases that we can win. So do that. There's bills that are rightfully to be, overwritten and forgiven. They're 7 years old and they're this and they're that stuff. It's there for a reason. So I'm not saying throw everything out. I'm not saying throw the baby out with the bathwater. I'm saying let's be strategic. Don't A4V every bill. Pay some of your bills. Start like budgeting to pay these things off. Because even the information that we're learning about the trust, we have to fund the trust. And you can't fund the trust. You can't fund the trust with nothing. And to be honest, I was literally buying a whole $400,000 home under the impression that I was a trust. And I was seeing how they were so very submissive to me and at my beckoning call, moving as this trust. I didn't realize that they were moving that way, not because I was just moving as a trust and I just was so awesome and amazing, but because they when you hear trust, they associate that with having wealth. And we do have wealth, but they mean like real, like tangible wealth, like something that they could see and that would buy that $400,000 home. That's why they were treating me so nice. We get the trust once your portfolio is diversified. When you have stocks, bonds, you have streams of income that is feeding accounts and accounts upon accounts, an account that's feeding other accounts, and you have all this wealth. You have houses and businesses and cars and contracts and deals and all these things kind of set up in a they're just all out here, and you want to kind of bring that together under a trust. And of course, when you pass away, all this business is still going, all these contracts, all this stuff is still moving. You put a trust on it so you can still delegate and execute how things are supposed to go beyond the grave, and you pass that information down to your children so that they can know which child gets what home, when, what degree, what, do they need to be in college, do they need to have been vocational, do they need to graduate with all A's, do they need how much of your college are they paying for? How much of the car are you paying for? How long do they run the business in this capacity? When do you do this? When do you do that? What's for your grandchildren, your great grand? That's when the trust becomes important. So don't stop posturing yourself for the wealth that we're going to walk into. But